Just imagine this. The Sun, the blazing furnace at the center of our solar system, a star so massive that it governs the dance of all planets, asteroids, and comets around it, suddenly becoming the backdrop for one of the strangest and most unsettling discoveries ever recorded by NASA's solar observatories. Because in the vast glow of its surface, where plasma eruptions and solar winds rage endlessly, instruments caught sight of something so bizarre, so completely out of place, that it has left even the most seasoned astronomers questioning what they were truly seeing, for drifting unnervingly close to the Sun's outer atmosphere, a massive dark object began to emerge, shaped not like any natural celestial body, but more like a carefully constructed craft, its sheer scale dwarfing even our Earth, a structured form that didn't shimmer or distort like dust, comet fragments, or the usual anomalies caused by solar flares, but instead held the distinct silhouette of something engineered, as if a colossal UFO-like object had appeared just beyond the burning corona, hanging silently against the violent backdrop of solar storms. And the strangest part was that while the Sun constantly spews energy that could obliterate any nearby matter, this object seemed completely unaffected, almost shielded. Like it had a defense mechanism or technology that could withstand the most destructive forces known in our solar system, sparking an immediate debate inside NASA's control rooms, where live feeds were suddenly frozen, analysts rushed in whispers, and archived footage was quietly locked away, because this wasn't the first time strange objects had been spotted near the Sun, yet never before had something of this magnitude lingered long enough to be captured in multiple frames, rotating slowly, with edges too precise to be dismissed as a glitch, raising the haunting possibility that something, or someone, was using the Sun not as a threat, but perhaps as a hiding place, a gateway, or even as a fuel source. And as the data poured in, theories began to spiral out of control. Was this a massive alien spacecraft harvesting solar energy? Was it a fragment of some ancient megastructure orbiting on a path we had never detected before? Or was it proof that advanced civilizations were watching us, operating at a scale humanity can hardly imagine, using the Sun, the very heart of our system, as a staging ground for purposes unknown, while NASA, pressured by the public eye, carefully adjusted its statements, releasing only heavily filtered versions of the footage, leaving just enough ambiguity for skeptics to dismiss, yet leaving enough raw truth for researchers, astronomers, and independent watchers to know that something extraordinary had indeed occurred, because no natural explanation fit the evidence. And as whispers spread across online communities, connecting this sighting with other unexplained solar anomalies, strange cube-like shadows, fleeting plasma trails that curved unnaturally, and energy bursts without scientific precedent, the unsettling idea grew stronger. Perhaps our Sun isn't just a star sustaining life on Earth, but a cosmic beacon drawing visitors from beyond, and maybe, just maybe, that enormous UFO-like object detected near its blazing edge was not the first, and will not be the last stop, but will not be the last, because as the days went on, more evidence began to surface, quietly, subtly, in ways that only those watching closely would even notice. Amateur astronomers scanning raw solar feeds began to report flickering anomalies that NASA never mentioned in its official reports, sharp-edged objects slipping into view for fractions of a second before disappearing into the fiery haze, plasma eruptions that seemed to bend unnaturally around invisible forms, and light distortions shaped not like gas clouds, but like outlines of structures, massive, angular, and deliberate. Some described them as geometric silhouettes larger than Earth itself, maneuvering with ease in places no human spacecraft could even dream of surviving. And the strangest discovery of all came when someone compared solar activity patterns across decades of data, because hidden in the chaos of flares and coronal mass ejections was a repeating sequence, bursts of energy appearing in intervals too regular to be random, almost as if the Sun itself was pulsing with a coded message. Or worse, as if someone, or something, was using the Sun as a transmitter. Inside NASA, the situation grew heavier with each passing day. In closed-door meetings, scientists whispered about the possibility that these objects weren't merely orbiting or harvesting energy, but interacting directly with the star in ways beyond human comprehension. It's like watching someone reach into a nuclear reactor with bare hands and come out untouched, one senior astrophysicist muttered, shaking her head as she stared at the enhanced frames. And then came the most chilling discovery yet. In one extended sequence of frames, The object did not just hover, it moved closer, dipping into the corona itself, disappearing into the inferno where no known material could possibly survive. For several tense minutes, the feed showed only solar chaos, but then, impossibly, the object re-emerged, completely intact, glowing faintly as if it had absorbed or collected some vast reservoir of energy, and then it drifted away, vanishing into the void as suddenly as it had appeared. Theories exploded across classified scientific channels. Some believed it was an energy harvesting station, a construct capable of feeding on stars like a cosmic parasite. Others suggested it was a kind of refueling station for interstellar travelers, civilizations so advanced they could treat stars as pit stops along their endless journeys. But then came the hypothesis no one wanted to voice aloud. What if the object wasn't harvesting the sun's energy? What if it was manipulating it? If these entities could control solar activity, flaring storms, coronal mass ejections, magnetic pulses, then they could effectively weaponize the sun itself, turning the very heart of our solar system into a cosmic engine of destruction. Meanwhile, outside the scientific halls of secrecy, ordinary people began noticing strange phenomena too. Radio operators reported bizarre disruptions, patterns of interference in frequencies untouched by solar storms. Some even swore they heard faint rhythmic pulses, almost like mechanical signals hidden within the static. And then came the whispers from military satellites, sudden energy spikes aimed toward Earth, subtle but measurable, as though something beyond the sun had turned its gaze directly at us. For those on the inside, the fear was unshakable. Was humanity being observed, tested, or even warned? And as the object's reappearance was tracked weeks later, this time larger, clearer, more deliberate, the truth became undeniable. This was no isolated event. It was a cycle, a routine. The sun, our life giver, was not alone. Something immense lurked in its glow, something engineered, intelligent, and far beyond our understanding. And as NASA's leadership debated whether to release even a fraction of the findings to the public, the final question loomed over them like a shadow larger than the sun itself. Were we looking at visitors who had always been here, hiding in plain sight, or at the architects of something far greater, beings who did not just study the stars, but controlled them? Whatever the answer, one thing was clear: the enormous UFO-like object near the sun was not a glitch, not an illusion, and most certainly not the last.